ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something about men. Men are simple, but they're not easy. Oh yeah, feed him, flatter him, and fool him for a minute. But if you really want to reach his soul, there's one thing you got to understand. A man will risk everything for the woman who makes him feel like he's somebody. Will fight battles he never planned to fight when he feels truly respected. See, people think men want control, ego, and power, but deep down just wants to feel like just efforts mean something to somebody. You give a man respect. I'm talking real respect. Not the kind where you fake a compliment just to keep him calm, but that genuine, I see what you're trying to do kind of energy, and you'll watch him come alive in ways you never imagined. Because let me tell you, a man can go through toughest storms if the woman standing next to him believes he can make it through. When you look at that, I believe in you, that's like rocket fuel to his soul, waking up earlier, thinking sharper, moving differently. Respect to a man is oxygen. Without it, breathe right. He'll still go to work. He'll still play the part. But inside, he's suffocating. But the moment he feels that respect, that trust in his ability, he becomes dangerous in a good way. He starts fighting for his future, for his woman, for his name, because he knows he's got someone who's counting on him and cheering for him at the same time. See is nice, but respect is what keeps a man loyal. You can love him all day long, but if you disrespect him, won't mean nothing. When a man feels respected, he feels powerful. Not power over you, power within himself. That's what makes him stand taller, walk stronger, dream bigger. And here's the thing, that doesn't mean agreeing with everything he says or doing, whatever he wants. It means letting him know, I see your effort. I appreciate your hustle. I trust your intentions. That's all it takes sometimes. It ain't always obvious. Most women don't realize the kind of war a man fights every day. Out there in the world, people doubt him. Bosses criticize him. Life tests him. But when he comes home and the woman he loves looks at him like he's capable of conquering anything, that man will start conquering everything. He'll risk his comfort, his pride, even his peace, just to keep that feeling alive. Because to a man, respect isn't just validation. It's motivation. It tells him he matters, that his grind ain't in vain. The woman beside him sees a king even when the world tries to make him feel small. If you make him feel like your peace, not your problem, you'll unlock a version of him even he hasn't met yet. Every man out there is fighting 1,000 silent battles. Pressure from work. Bills stacking up. Expectations weighing heavy. Constant thought of I do enough. It's like the world keeps asking him to be a hero with no break, no moment to breathe. And when he finally walks through that door, the last thing he wants is another war waiting on the couch. He's not looking for chaos. He's looking for calm. You become that calm, and baby, you become unforgettable. A man's heart doesn't open to everybody. He'll give you jokes, conversation, maybe even time, but he won't give you his peace unless he trusts you with it. When you create that space where he can exhale, that's when you see who he really is. The man who's serious, protective, gentle, ambitious, all of that shows up when he feels safe around you. You don't have to fix his problems. Sometimes your silence, your patience, softness speaks louder than 1,000 I love yous. Because peace is something a man values more than looks, more than money, more than attention. Peace is what keeps him coming home. When he knows that with you, he can rest his mind. He'll start building his life around that feeling. He'll risk everything to protect it. You ever notice how a man moves different when he's at peace? He smiles more. He laughs from his soul instead of panics. He gives instead of guards. Because a peaceful man is a powerful man, and the woman who brings him that peace, she's not temporary, she's timeless. Don't realize how deep that connection goes. When you bring him peace, you don't just soothe his mood, you strengthen his mind. You become the quiet in his storm, the light in his tunnel, the calm in his chaos. He starts to see you not just as a lover, but as a life partner. That's when loyalty becomes natural, not forced. Because no man ever risks everything for a woman who drains him. He'll give up the world for the one who refuels him. When a man feels like you are his peace, everything in his power to make sure he never loses you, because peace to a man is priceless. Don't fall for looks. They fall for how you make them feel about themselves. You can be the most beautiful woman in the room, but if you make a man feel small, shrinking away from you, but if you make that same man feel like he matters, like he's capable, like he's valuable, he'll move mountains just to keep you close. See, a man's heart isn't won by what he sees, it's won by what he feels when he's around you. Looks might catch his eye, but peace, admiration, and appreciation keep his soul locked in. A man remembers the woman who made him feel like he could take on the world. When he's doubting himself and you say, "Baby, you got this," that voice echoes in his head longer than you think. That's what gives him that extra push when life hits hard. Because you didn't just speak to his ears. You spoke to his spirit. Every man wants to feel like he's good enough for something real. And when you bring that feeling out of him, more than just his woman, you become his motivation. You see, men are taught to act tough, but inside, They're starving for validation that feels real, not ego, stroking fake praise. Just that moment where someone sees the effort and says, proud of you. That's what melts a man's heart. You make him feel valued. He'll treat you like royalty. But you make him feel useless. And no matter how much he loves you, start to distance himself just to protect his spirit. That's not pride. It's survival. Every man wants to feel like he adds something to your life, like he's always failing your expectations. If he feels like nothing he does is enough, he'll stop trying. But if you celebrate his wins, big or small, creating more of them just to see you smile, it's not manipulation. It's inspiration. You build him up. He builds you a world. That's how love grows. When you make a man feel like he's capable, respected, and appreciated, he'll start seeing you differently. You'll become the woman he doesn't just want to be with. You'll be the woman he refuses to lose. To him, you're not just love, you're peace, confidence, and purpose all in one. Might chase beauty for a night, but he'll chase the woman who makes him feel like a king for a lifetime. Never chase him, inspire him. A man values what he works for, not what's handed to him. The moment you start chasing a man, he stops running toward you. See, when something comes too easy, people take it for granted, and men are no different. But when you stand in your power, when you make him rise up to earn your attention, your time, your energy, that's when he starts seeing your worth. You don't have to beg for effort. You have to inspire it. Because when a man has to grow to get you, he'll never forget what it took to have you. Respects what he has to reach for. If he looks at you and realizes he has to bring his best self to stand next to you, that changes him. He starts thinking differently, talking differently, acting differently. Because you've shifted the game. You're not playing small, you're setting the bar high. And don't you dare lower that bar just to keep somebody who doesn't want to climb. Let him go. The right man will see your value and start leveling up without you ever asking. You don't inspire a man by chasing him. You inspire him by showing him what excellence looks like. See, when you chase him, he sees comfort. But when you challenge him with your standards, he sees potential. Men love a challenge when it's rooted in respect. They love a woman who pushes them to be better, without tearing them down. He sees that your energy doesn't depend on him, that your happiness isn't tied to his mood, wanting to earn a place in your peace. That's power. That's how you teach a man. To treat you without saying a word. You want to know why some women stay unforgettable. It's not because they did the most. It's because they required the most. They made that man show up. They made him communicate. They made him plan. They made him care. And once he did, effort built a bond no chasing could ever create. You can't force a man to value you. You can show him what value looks like by valuing yourself. When a man has to grow to reach your level, you become his greatest reward. He won't risk losing you. He remembers the man he had to become to get you. That's the secret. Don't chase. Inspire. A woman who inspires a man doesn't have to ask for love. She naturally becomes the reason he gives it. His spirit, not just his schedule. You want to touch a man's heart, asking surface questions, and start seeing underneath the armor. Every man walks around with something he's not saying: pressure, doubt, fear he's scared to admit out loud. You can text him good morning all day long, but the moment you ask, what's been on your mind lately? That's when you separate yourself from the crowd. Because now you're not just checking on his day, you're checking on his soul. And let me tell you something, when a man feels the kind of connection, you become rare to him. Most people talk to a man's routine. They ask about work, money, plans, but nobody asks about his peace. Showing interest in what weighs on him, he starts trusting you with parts of himself he didn't even know how to share. That's what builds emotional intimacy. That's what turns a woman from someone I talk to into someone I can't lose. Because you didn't just hear his words, you felt his heart. A man will risk everything for the one who gives him that kind of understanding. See, men don't open up easily. The world teaches them to be strong, to handle it, to keep it together. But even the strongest man needs a place to lay his thoughts down without judgment. When you create that space for him, when he knows he can be honest without being criticized, you'll see a side of him no one else gets to see. You'll see the softness behind the strength, behind the confidence, the little boy who still wants to be seen. That's the man's truth. When you reach that part of him, you own something no one else does. His trust. You don't need fancy words or deep psychology. You just need to listen with intention. Listen not to reply, but to understand that. Ask questions that show you care about what he feels, not just what he does. When he talks about his stress, don't rush to fix it. Sometimes he just needs to know somebody's listening. That's how you become the person he confides in when life gets heavy. When you speak to a man's spirit, you heal something in him. You remind him he's more than his paycheck, more than his mistakes, more than what the world expects him to be. And when you reach that part of him, he'll never forget it. You didn't just talk to him. You touched the man behind the mask. Be his why, not his worry. When a man finds a woman who gives him purpose, he becomes a different kind of man. You can see it in his walk, In his focus, in his grind, he starts to think bigger, move smarter, and dream louder. Because now, living for himself, he's living to make sure she's proud. That kind of motivation can't be bought or taught. Built through the way you make him feel when he's with you. You either drain a man's drive or you feed it, and the woman who becomes his reason to rise is the one he'll never risk losing. Always obvious. Every man wants to feel like he's something worth protecting. When he looks at you and sees a future, when he knows that when he's working for means something to go all in, he'll take risks, face fear, sacrifice comfort, because to him that love is legacy. When the woman he loves becomes a constant source of stress, when every conversation turns into a battle, his motivation starts to fade. He stops dreaming, he stops pushing, he stops believing. His peace got replaced with pressure. And let me tell you, no man thrives in pressure that feels personal. When you become his why, you become his balance. You remind him why he started, why he works hard, why he fights through bad days. You speak life into him when the world tries to tear him down. You don't have to fix his problems. You just have to stand beside him with belief. That's what fuels him. A man will break his back for a woman who believes in him. He'll go to war for her peace. She's the one who made him believe he could win in the first place. When a man has that kind of woman in his life, his whole energy changes. He's more focused, more patient, more protective, because his love now has purpose. He's not just chasing success, he's chasing stability for the woman who saw something in him before he saw it in himself. That's what makes him risk everything. His time, his pride, even his comfort, because that woman became his reason. Be his why, not his worry. Be his calm, not his chaos. Be the woman who makes him proud to be a man. When you do that, he'll give everything he's got. He has to, but because he wants to.